Hey guys, so I have a very fun video for you today. It is an unboxing. I freaking love unboxing plants. On or off camera, I just love unboxing plants. So today we are unboxing plants from Kartel Daun. If you haven't heard of them, they are a nursery located in Indonesia. They're probably one of the best known anthurium exporters in Indonesia right now. They specialize in Indonesian cultivars mainly, but they also have like Western cultivars sprinkled in there, like red crystallinum, Ralph Lynam, Fort Sherman, that kind of stuff. So needless to say, I'm a big fan. They sent me plants last year as well. There's something in my eye. They had sent me plants last year as well, sometime around like end of August, early September. So a lot of people have been asking me for updates on that shipment because I show them sporadically throughout my videos, but I haven't done them all together. So I've already filmed the unboxing. This is the following week. I thought I'd give it some time because it was like a really, okay, so here's the long story. I got the plans. I wasn't expecting to get it that day. My calendar was kind of full. I had plans, so I just really quickly filmed, well, not really that quickly, but like an hour of filming the unboxing, and then I just had to like rush out the door. So I didn't have time to do like proper intro. I didn't have time to do just a lot of the extra stuff. It just didn't even cross my mind. I was just like, let's just get this unboxing film so these plants can get out of the box. So I figured let's just make this like a whole Kartel like unboxing, fresh plants, updating you on last year's plants, and like the following week unboxing update on how the plants have been doing post unboxing, because like things can change quite a bit after import. Like it can look pristine coming out of the box, and then things can just like change. So I thought that'd be maybe useful to some people. So a lot of you who follow anthurium news will know that they just recently launched a website, which is just karteldaun.com. This is definitely a long time coming. No more claiming plants through their stories, no more messaging them for availability, waiting for an answer. It's all just listed on the website, and the process is very much the same. But just to clarify for anyone who hasn't ordered from Kartel before, at this point you just load up your cart with your plants. They have shipping hubs in Canada, US, UK, EU, Singapore, and they have planned like bulk shipments going out to each of those countries. So you don't pay for those shipments to your home country. You just pay for the domestic shipment from that importer to you, or like their domestic partner. So if you live in one of these countries that have a domestic cartel partner, then you don't need an import permit. You can still order directly to you if you have an import permit, but then you end up paying like the cargo, the FIDO. I haven't imported from Indonesia in a long time, but in the past, and this was like years ago, so it's probably more expensive now, but it would cost like upwards of like $300-400 for a smallish box from Indonesia. So unless you have like a big group ordering a ton of plants and you want it like as quickly as possible, it's better just to go with the whole shipment for that country. And I don't know how often that happens, but I would assume like once every 2 months or so, especially during the warmer months. They also have a dead on arrival policy. So if your plants arrive to you dead, unsalvageable, they will refund you or replace it with the next shipment. So I'm going to cut to the past now, which was last week when I unboxed these plants. I also filmed last week the updates to the plants I got last year. And I'll meet you back here at the end to show you the plants as they are today, which is the following week after unboxing. So enjoy. I had the option of adding a heat pack, but I just opted not to and just have insulation. Insulation would have been included. I just didn't think it was necessary. It's this like time of spring transitioning where like, you know, you have like a week of like quite warm and then suddenly you have really cold temperatures. So I just decided to risk it. Also, okay, I don't know what's in here, first of all, but I was seeing also on Facebook groups that they were sending, or like people had ordered variegated seedlings from, they had, I think, bred 2 variegated plants. And some people were getting variegated seedlings. They're quite small, so it could still turn variegated. And some were like already variegated at a very small size and on the first 2 leaves. Okay, everything is very fluffed. Oh my gosh, they're not seedlings. Well, I mean, they're small plants, but they're not like tiny seedlings. 1, 2, 5 plants. Okay, wait, let me reposition the camera. So like last time, I don't think, nope. The IDs are not on here. I don't know. I didn't plan this because it all happened so fast. I was out all day. I came home. There was a box at the door. Um, last time I played a guessing game and I didn't do very good at it. And I feel like it might have been a bit confusing. I might, you know what? I'm just going to guess, but I'm going to put the actual ID on the screen once I find out from them. And just know that the text on the screen is the real ID, not what's coming out of my mouth. And I hope you guys can't hear, but my neighbors next door are like doing their walls. Like they've been hammering since 8 a.m. So if you hear any construction noises, it's not me. Okay, this one just says, yeah, this just has a number. I love unboxing so much. Okay, so it looks like every leaf has polyfill around it. And then another piece of like tissue paper, Kleenex, around the thing before putting into this, like, it's kind of like a coated paper, so it doesn't super absorb. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. What is this? It's giving like Dark Phoenix Goliath or Dark Phoenix. No, not Goliath. Am I thinking Goliath? I think I'm thinking of Goliath, the one like the really dark muted veins, but it has kind of like Dark Phoenix shape, Dark Phoenix ears. It's kind of big and it's very cute. I'm not going to be potting this up on camera because, again, like I said, I wasn't planning to film today. Today is Saturday. I'm filming this and then I still have to get my video up for tomorrow. I don't have a lot of time, and my boyfriend and I, like, this Saturday is like our day to do stuff. So like I want to prioritize getting out and having a day, like a weekend day, come home, rush and edit my video for tomorrow. So I only have time to film kind of like a shortish one today, unfortunately. But you guys know I'm going to be showing updates on these plants kind of like constantly over the next few months. Ooh, this one is silvery. Wait, what is it? Okay, I'm gonna guess red crystal. Could they have sent me another red crystal King of Spades? King of Spades red crystal. It's kind of more elongated. Wait, I'm trying to remember what else they've done with red crystal. They have like, what's the super silver one? Like Crystal Hope, Dorayaki. It's not giving dorayaki because it's so elongated. I'm in such a silvery, bright veined mood for like the past few months. Like, I think it's kind of like, you know, King of Spades, Red Crystal, Carla together has put me into like a very like mood to appreciate bright silvery veining. So yeah, so you've seen the ID. That's what this one is. It's very, very cute. I really like that one. And I'm kind of excited to see what oh, there's a leaf coming out. Do you see there's here, emergent leaf. And I'm curious to see what that color looks like. It's very green right now, but it could still turn more red. It has a pretty pinky margin on the newest leaf. It just kills me that I don't know the IDs. Okay, 186. This one looks like a smaller one. Okay, this one, oh, it's so pillowy. This one had a little bit of leaf damage. It looks like this leaf got maybe like a bit of edema or got wet and it just kind of shriveled a little bit. So this one might have to go into water, except that this leaf feels like super, look how perky it is. So this leaf was the second oldest leaf. This is the newest leaf. So it might have just been too delicate and not yet hardened off. But it didn't survive shipping as well as the other ones did. I might put this in water. In fact, let's just like, okay, I'm gonna make a mess. I wasn't gonna make a mess today, but let's just see what the roots look like. And in case anyone's wondering, Last time I put everything, not everything, I put a lot of them into tree fern and some of them I put into pond. Depending on the roots, I might either put it into, if it doesn't have good roots, just like my tree fern, perlite, and pond mix. But if the roots look pretty healthy, sometimes you see like active roots, like with the yellow tips still in an import plant. If that's the case, I'll put it into tree fern soil. Okay. Here are the roots. They're a little bit deflated on the ends. So like this moss isn't, it's damp. I've honestly gotten, actually kind of recently, I've gotten shipments of plants that were shipped in moss and the moss was drier than this. And I still had deflated roots. So this one, honestly, once I remove the kind of roots that aren't doing too well, it won't have as much left. So this one probably will go into water for today and then I'll pot it up into tree fern tomorrow. So this is like tree fern, but if it was any, should I just do all the roots? Hold on. I'll just do all the roots. So this one looks like really perky and like no damage whatsoever to the leaves. I'm curious to see how the roots are in comparison to that other one. And to be clear, I never expect good roots out of an import. It's because of how they have to treat it. It's very seldom that the roots come out like just feeling fabulous. So like I expect to reroot them, but with anthuriums, because the roots are like thicker, they can kind of hold up to that kind of mistreatment a little bit better than things with fine roots. So oftentimes I won't, most of the time I won't remove anything that doesn't look already dead. So this one, I will say has a bigger root system, right? And less deflation on the ends. Very little deflation on the ends. And therefore I feel like this new leaf might survive. The one that's poking out of the petiole. Oh, I forgot to say what I think this is. I think this is a Dark Phoenix hybrid as well. Like, do you see that puffy shape? It looks so much like Dark Phoenix, which I'm so excited to show you later, like my Dark Phoenix hybrid that I got from them last time and how it's doing, because it just put out the most beautiful leaf. This one, oh. I wonder if it's the same hybrid I got last time because it looks very similar. Look at it. Look at that new leaf. I don't know if the color is coming off on camera, but it's kind of got this like olive, almost like a little bit of like a purple shift. Hopefully you can see that color. And the veins, oh, this one has a nice sinus. And the veins do have a color. Well, how would I characterize that color? It's kind of like orangey. And I feel like at this age, so many pap hybrids can look Dark Phoenixy. And I'm just going to say Dark Phoenix hybrid again. And I think it might be Dark Phoenix crossed with Ralph Lynam Fort Sherman, or the inverse of that. Ooh, this one has an active fuzzy root. You see? Okay, this one might be a candidate to go straight into... Is it pond or is it tree fern soil? I've been neglecting my pond bin lately and it makes me feel a little bit sad. Like I do like growing in pond. No, I'm not going to open this one. Not the roots. This, okay. I think I have a guess for this one. This one, I think, it's a silvery one. This one, I think, is Bigfoot something. The veins, just like the way that they come out like legs, like kind of spidery, I guess. It really looks like my Bigfoot self that I got from my friend Jessie, who got it from Kartel. But it looks very similar. I might as well show you now because it's not really like part of my Kartel update, because this is like, I didn't buy this plant, I just got it from my friend. But do you see? Maybe you don't see. Maybe it's more clear in, okay, it's not the happiest looking plant. Here. You know what I mean? It's kind of, how do I describe that? It's like, it goes very horizontal and then like straight down, but it's kind of like spider legs. I don't know, but in any case, there's a little bit of like red in the veins for both plants. This is a fully hardened leaf here. And I'm not sure if you can see the redness in like what's kind of pink in the veins. And it's quite pink on this one. You can see the redness here and the new leaf. Pretty red in the veins as well. I'm gonna guess it's Bigfoot. 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 Bigfoot something. Okay, actually, I'm looking at the timestamp. That unboxing was very quick. So I'm actually going to unpot the roots. This is so chaotic, but I am going to unpot the roots and then I'm going to get them into water. They'll be in water for a few hours. I'm thinking I'll be out of the house for a few hours and I'll come home and then I'll pot them up later this evening. But just to give them like a nice boost of hydration before I get them into the substrate, I think will make them a little bit happier. And that way, like when I pot them up, I'll know, because by that time, hopefully I'll know the IDs of them. And sometimes I like to choose a substrate based on the ID, but sometimes it's just like whatever I feel like. But I've been leaning towards Pon specifically for Dark Phoenix and Dark Phoenix hybrids. So for any Dark Phoenix hybrids, which I'm sure there's at least one of them in here, I'll put it into Pon with no drainage. The roots on this one are probably the happiest so far. Actually, no, the other one that had the big fat root coming out, that one's probably the happiest. This one, I think this one's my favorite. So I'm gonna unpot the roots and I'll recap it one more time. Oh, interesting. Okay, so this one with the fat root coming out here has maybe the smallest root system. And by feeling the leaves, they don't feel particularly thirsty, maybe just like a hair thirsty. So I'm really glad I got it when I did, because if it had been held by Pure Later for an extra weekend, they might be a lot sadder. But she definitely did overnight them. And it was just like so nice. Like the whole process is very seamless. For me, it arrived in Canada, I believe, at the beginning of this week, and I got it by Friday. But the last time they sent me things, I think it was like in transit for a little bit longer, but the plants were honestly like super happy by the time they got to me. And here are the roots on the last one. Okay, so let me recap. 5 plants in total. This one looks pretty pristine. This one, what I think is red crystal something, root system. New leaf coming out. This one, which I think is my favorite so far. These things will change because what I thought was my favorite last time did not end up being my favorite later. But this one is, I think, Dark Phoenix Pap or Pap. I don't know. It's not as puffy as a Dark Phoenix something, but the root system, small, but it started rooting in transit, I can see. This one, which I thought was maybe Dark Phoenix, I don't know. Okay, so there's these two that I think are Dark Phoenix hybrids. One might be crossed with like Blue Pap or something. Maybe this one's Blue Pap. Who knows? Root system is pretty good on this one. I don't think I'm gonna have to remove anything. Maybe just like the odd little hairline root, but this one looks like it's ready to go straight into tree fern soil or pond. This one is the most Dark Phoenix-y of everything here. And root system on this one is the most deflated. But once I remove everything, like literally I need this. I just need that and I can root it out, no problem. And then this one, which I think is Bigfoot something, Bigfoot something. Root system. The emergent leaf is feeling quite tissue papery, which is like to be expected, but the plants were packed really well. Like you can see, like they're kind of falling back into their like natural shape, and they were very well cushioned. They don't look mangled, they don't look folded. The only leaf that kind of got folded was this emergent leaf that is like super, super delicate. There's that one. Oh my gosh, I can't get over this one. This sinus is so nice. It's like a triangle. I cannot wait to get this one growing big. This one is so nice. So I just grabbed a deli cup of water, nothing in it, just straight water. I'm just gonna pop these in here again for a few hours And then I'm going to message them and find out the IDs. And then I'll kind of pot them up according to the IDs. I'm thinking these roots are totally fine to go straight into tree fern soil. Like I don't see any problem with that. But that will be the setup for the afternoon. So next up, I want to show you the plants that I got from them last year. But I kind of wanted to kind of touch back on this Bigfoot self. It's not doing the happiest. I know at one point I underwatered it. When I got this from Jessie, it was in this pot. It has, I think, a coir-based kind of tree fern mix and then a ton of leca at the bottom, and it's sitting in like a big deli cup. And it was quite wet when I got it from him, and I honestly probably didn't water it for like a month and a half. And since the top of it was so algae ridden, it looks so dark to me that I thought it was very, very saturated waters, but it was like quite dry when I picked it up. I was like, oh crap. So like this happened on one of the leaves. This was the newest leaf at the time. It had these little dots. This one later came out. It doesn't have the dots, but it did have like mechanical damage. You can see like here, it was kind of like hitting up against the pot and the side of the tent. So like, I'm not really concerned about this, but this was a little bit concerning to me. This new leaf looks like it's coming out unscathed and it doesn't look like it's hitting stuff. But in any case, it is time for a repot. And I think I would get into the reason why I haven't been that into cocoa coir, I'm okay with cocoa chunks. I've been using cocoa chunks in my soil for a long time to create like chunkiness and aeration. I like it because it is quite big and impactful to create like more chunkiness. Not that I use very chunky of a mix, but when I want to pot a bigger plant and I don't want to use so much bark because the bark pieces are smaller, I like to use the coconut chunks when I have it and I don't go through it very quickly. So I like to add it in. But sometimes the like fine roots, like philodendron roots or Hoya roots, can go like straight through it. So it's like really annoying to get them off. With anthuriums, I think it's totally fine. I have this like distrust of coconut because I keep hearing about like salt burn and stuff when it's like not rinsed. So I've always used reptile stuff because it's like super, super rinsed. It's usually like triple rinsed because it's going with livestock. And I think Amanda was telling me something about like, there's cocoa coir for worm bins. I didn't know that that was a thing for worm bins, but apparently those are super rinsed as well. So I kind of steer away from using cocoa coir for that reason because I just don't have the energy in me to like rinse something so fine. But at the same time, I feel like a little bit of paranoia that like salt burn will happen at some point. I don't know that if that's what this is. I don't know. I simply don't know. It's Jesse's mix. I trust his mix, but in any case, it's going to be repotted soon because the roots are all creeping out the bottom. Like there's a bunch of roots coming out. And I just think that this deserves like a little bit of a sprucing up because like the bottom leaves like are crisping from when I underwatered it. So I just want to get into like a cuter pot. I just want to explain that plant in case anyone was looking at it and was like, what's going on there? Okay, so last year I got 5 plants from Kartel and they sent me a mystery box. Some of them are definitely bigger than the others. 2 of them I will say I struggled with. 2 of them I think have been growing wonderfully. And then 1 of them is kind of like middle of the road. So I'll show you the 2 I've been struggling with first. So this first one is Blue Pap crossed with Fort Sherman. And I say struggle with because like it hasn't been like fluctuating a lot, but it was just like not sizing up the way that I was like used to. But this one is so cool because it's so long, like these little spears. This one has been kind of yellowing for a while, and I think that's what, yes, this is what prompted me to repot it. And I got into a bigger pot, into tree fern soil. The roots look pretty good because it's very, very algae ridden. There's leca at the bottom. Yeah, it's just been a little bit of a slow grower for me, but I am just like waiting for this one to size up because I really want to see what this one's going to look like when it's more mature, because how cool are these like really, really like needly long leaves. This one is Bigfoot crossed with Blue Pap. So this is Bigfoot. It's like very, very dark, very silvery, like sparkling silver veins, and it kind of falls off like it. They're bold veins that aren't that numerous. And that was kind of on a wish list of mine. And then Jesse gave me this one, which just checked that right off, because this one to me looks very much like the Bigfoot that I was looking at, like the reference photo. And I'm really excited to get this growing big because like, I think this would look so good on a shelf because look at this hardened leaf and it has like the red veins. Anyways, we're not talking about Bigfoot. This is Bigfoot or Bigfoot blue pap. The blue pap really just like erased all of the veins of the Bigfoot. And this one has struggled a bit as well in that like it's not sizing up at all. So I wonder if like the substrate, it's not liking it. It doesn't seem like it's dried out. Like there's a big healthy root down here, but this one doesn't have like really thick roots. So I'm wondering maybe it like wants more water than I give it. But also this one was doing this prior to a repot. So I think I moved it from tree fern to tree fern soil into a bigger pot, and it was in like a small little like yogurt cup, like a little cup in no drainage. So I moved it to drainage and tree fern soil, and it has been growing, but every leaf hardens off like this size. So these two I'm struggling to size up and get going really big. This next one is one that's like the middle of the road, and I was so excited to have this, and this new leaf is so cute. So this one is King of Spades crossed with Red Crystal, and I love this leaf. It hasn't been sizing up huge. It's been sizing up like very small increments, but it's been growing a little bit better. The last leaf I grew was this one, and it's so cute. And I can't wait for it to get bigger. It is so dark, so veiny. It does look like red crystal, but it has like a roundness to it, and the veining just looks different. It doesn't look like the King of Spades red crystal of my dreams, which would be this one, but this one is a very cute one. When it first got to me, the leaves were a little bit greener. And then in my light, which is probably not as strong as theirs, it's been darker. So that's what leaf I grew. This is the newest leaf. It's already in caterpillar somehow. Look, there's a caterpillar right here. The roots of these look good. This is also in tree fern soil, has like at the bottom for a reservoir. Yeah, this one seems quite happy. I have no plans to do anything to this anytime soon. Maybe after 2 more leaves, I'll get it repotted. But this one's like one of my favorites. This next one was the biggest one that they sent me, and it was like one of my favorites from that box. But I think the next one I'm going to show you kind of edged it out as my overall favorite. But this one is, oh, it's so cute. This one is Anthurium minahasa, which they also call king crystallinum. This one I had potted in pond, and I've repotted it once since September. So this one's already ready for repot. It's quite full of roots. Pond, there's some leca at the bottom. Not really sure why. Sometimes I just do stuff and I'm like, why did I do that? I don't think it was necessary. I don't think it's harmful, but I don't think it was super necessary. And this new leaf is so cute. And I just love, okay, there's so many things I love about Minahasa. One thing is that it's really thick. Like the leaves, you know, velvet, there's like smooth velvet that's kind of like satiny and like shimmery. And then there's like the super matte, almost rough feeling velvet. This is one of those. Hopefully it's like way more friction running your finger down it. I also like that it's like very kind of almond shaped, and the veins are always like very, very symmetrical. Like it's just almost like a mirror image of each other. There's also like a very almost highlighter pink margin. Mainly on the new leaves, yeah, mainly on the new leaves, but there's like pink in the veins, and it's just so pretty. And this one, when I unpot this, I'm going to get a chop out of it, I think, because it's not like an expensive crystallinum variant, but I do think it's worth having when you're collecting these things. Like there's like the super Charmaine was doing this yesterday. She kept calling them super specials, and now I want to call them super specials. Crystallinum silver special. Except that one's kind of a biatch to grow. This one seems like super easy going. And then of course there's like red crystal, I don't know, dorayaki, like all the very silvery sparkly ones. Like I think this one is definitely worth having. I think you can probably get one for easily like a good size one for less than $100. So it's not like one that you're going to be like saving up for. It's nothing in like the Carla range. It's like a more approachable but easygoing one. I don't know if I'll keep it in pond because I like to grow pond plants in no drainage, and I just don't have many bigger than this. But this one also doesn't need to live in my tent anymore. Like, it has a freaking huge root system. And this is a root system that I'm like confident can transition out into ambient conditions, especially now that it's spring, the humidity is up, it's warmer out here. I think it'll be no problem. Sometimes people will ask like, when's the best time, or like, what's the best approach to transition anthuriums into lower humidity? As a general rule of thumb, the stronger and bigger the root system, the easier that transition will be, the more seamless, the more likely you'll have a new leaf grow after that will come out relatively good. But this is the smaller the root system, the more of like an acclimation period you'll have. Of course, it will depend on the species and the hybrid and stuff, but I think this one will do no problem out in ambient conditions, depending on how much roots I remove from it when I get a little chop out of it. But all of these have been growing in my tent. This one just grows like kind of up here, and it's like, it's so cute. It's so cute. I really like this one. It's just so narrow and rounded at the same time. Last but not least, this guy has been through it a little bit, but this is my Dark Phoenix crossed with Ralph Lynham Fort Sherman. I chopped this in a video not too long ago, within the last few weeks, I think. I got 2 chops out of it. I'll show you the props. But the top really did not skip a beat. Look at these fat roots. It's still in pond, but she's been working on really juicy roots. And then it put out this leaf, and it's so pretty, you guys. Look at that leaf. When I first got it, I was like, this, they sent me a pure, like a Dark Phoenix, straight up Dark Phoenix, or like a Dark Phoenix self. But with every leaf, it's becoming more and more Ralph Lynham Fort Sherman. Like, this one has such a wide sinus compared, well, I mean, not such a, but the sinus is widening. And look at those veins, those spidery veins coming down, and it's so elongated and so pretty. Just, I love it so much. This leaf, I think, got a little bit bleached. I've since moved it. So this used to live right here, and it was getting light from here. I've kind of tucked it away. I don't know if it's even any darker because I didn't take a reading, but it's just down here now. It's still under light, but I'm seeing that this leaf is not bleaching. It's still a very nice dark color. I'm in awe over this leaf. It's so freaking stunning. And I do have one prop that I'm going to be selling in the near future. Don't know when. I'm waiting because I don't know if I should cut it again, because you're going to see there's like a million growth points. And I've been noticing with Fort Sherman, I don't know if it's a Fort Sherman or the Ralph Lynham, or if it's the combination of the two, because everything I have is like a hybrid of those two as a hybrid. It's always crossed with Ralph Lynham Fort Sherman or Fort Sherman Ralph Lynham. And they produce offsets like crazy. This one had produced like 5 offsets. There's one still on this plant. I think I've chopped the other ones off, but there's an active growth point down at the base as well. And then my Fort Sherman Ralph Lynham, the pure pap, is producing offsets. Like, it's got 2, I think, 1 or 2 on the main plant. And I chopped that one as well because it had produced like all the growth points beneath the substrate were active already when I chopped it. So anyway, if you get this hybrid, I don't know if they sent me another one. I don't know if that one I really liked is this hybrid. But if you get one, expect a lot of offsets, which is really great if you want to like propagate, sell, trade, stuff like that. Oh my gosh. I love this leaf. This is my favorite leaf this plant has ever grown. It's the color, the shape, the veins. It's like electric. Oh, don't blow it out. So this one is definitely my favorite of the whole shipment from last year. I don't see how you can go wrong by ordering one of these, so long as it's like at a bigger size. Like, it doesn't have to be like this size. It can be a little bit smaller than that, but at a size where they would have had the opportunity to cull any like weak growers. So like that would be the only way you could go wrong with this hybrid. But like a Dark Phoenix and a Ralph Lynham Fort Sherman, or the inverse of that, like I don't think you could go wrong. You're gonna have dark, you're gonna have like nice dimension probably pretty bullate, elongated. Like, what could go wrong? So I had taken 2 cuttings of that plant. One I gave to Jing, but then like she went away to China. She's still in China. She's been gone for so long. I miss her so much, but she's back this week. But anyways, like I gave it to her and she immediately gave it back to me. Like, can you watch it while I'm gone? So I still have that plant, but this is the other one and it's got 3 growth points. So I don't know if I should cut it again or just sell them all together as like a 3-for-1. So these were the leaves that were originally on the plant. So the prop leaves will go. This is the first leaf on one of the growth points. The second one, it's funny, it grew basically, you know how like philodendrons, when you activate an axillary bud, the first leaf on that is almost like, it's not a real leaf, it's like a modified leaf, but it's like a profil, so it almost looks like a tiny spoon. I don't really see anthuriums doing that so much, but this is giving profil. Like, it doesn't look like a proper leaf. And then immediately it popped this leaf out of it here. And then this is a separate growth point as well. This is a brand new leaf that has a good amount of expanding to do. So this is a bushy one. I'm tempted to just kind of let it go on to the next person as a bush, but I haven't really decided yet. I'm waiting for these 2 freshies to expand. This one's pretty much done, but it's been growing really fast. Like, I think this would have been a month since the chop, something like that. My mental calendar is all over the place, but it's kind of growing nonstop. And I planted it in pond because the plant was in pond. And I just feel like if it's growing well in pond, I don't really see a need to grow in tree fern soil. And I like to have a bit of variation in the substrates, just keeps me on my toes. Some things are in drainage, some things are in no drainage. I find that I like when I have to mentally engage with, like, not all the time. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish I didn't have to think about these things. But sometimes I like to have the mental engagement of like pausing for a second and assessing, like, what does this particular plant need? Do I need to like lift it and see the weight of it? Do I have to like make sure I control my watering a little bit better because it's in no drainage, has no drainage holes to flush out the excess? Do I want to just water the reservoir? Do I want to water the substrate? I kind of appreciate having, well, I think it's good for me to have a little bit of variation. So I don't like to have everything all in one substrate. So whenever I can plant things in pond versus tree fern soil, I will take that opportunity. Long story short. So when I unboxed those plants, I was kind of humming and hawing over whether I should do pond for some of them, especially the dark phoenix hybrids, or what I thought was dark phoenix hybrids, which actually are dark phoenix hybrids. Or should I do tree fern soil, which is like my favorite substrate right now? In the end, I decided to put all of them into tree fern soil just for simplicity's sake. They all went into the same size pot, which you're going to see shortly. So I did my usual thing of like tree fern soil with leca at the bottom, and I had them inoculated with great white, and I kind of sat them in like a small reservoir. So it was like maybe a maximum of a centimeter. So it wasn't touching the soil. And I left them out in ambient conditions overnight. And I just wanted to see who's going to throw a fit, who's not. This is not the best advice. I've done room humidity acclimation in the past. It's not been horrible. It's been actually like a little bit slower than acclimating in a tent or a bin, but it's worked. They've rooted. They didn't drop a bunch of leaves. They didn't crash. So I wanted to see what would happen to these ones. And this kind of like separated the ones that are going to like continue growing without skipping a beat, and the ones that might need a little bit more TLC, more of an acclimation period. So a few of these plants just are fine. They're like, great, we're home now. A couple of them did get a little bit wilty, so it just is good for me to know. The first one, this one is, I was very shocked when I saw the ID, Minahasa crossed with blue pap. And Minahasa is like what they also call King crystallinum. They've been calling it King crystallinum more now, but last year they were calling it Minahasa. And all I see is silver. It's just a silvery plant. I was so shocked because like I would have figured that the blue pap would have erased a lot of the silver, but it seems to be like dominant silver. It looks kind of similar to my Minahasa, I guess. I can see a lot of similarities. I'm looking at it right now, and it's obviously much younger, but I'm very curious what it'll look like when it's older, while like different colors come out. This one is just like super perky. The leaf that was growing out, it's kind of covered in soil, but the leaf is still growing. It's been growing slowly. The roots that I can see on the side of the pot seem fine. It hasn't been growing new roots that I can see yet. Last time it took a couple of weeks, and that would have been at the tail end of summer. So it's kind of cooler now. I expect to see like root growth, like visible root growth on the side of the pot within about 2 weeks of import. So this one has leca at the bottom, tree fern soil on top. Yeah, this one I think is going to be like just a seamless acclimation. I'm going to kind of alternate between the happy ones and the not so happy ones. This one, I was so sure this was Bigfoot something. This, like, to me, like I said in that earlier clip, just looks like Bigfoot. But this one is Crystallinum X, this plant crossed with King of Spades red crystal. And like, so far it's quite young, but I don't see King of Spades in it yet. So this one will be I think it's going to change a lot as it gets older. But the newest leaf, that was an emergent leaf, did start to wilt. This was one of the plants where I think, yeah, this one was planted, and then it was like this the next day. This petiole could not even hold this leaf up. I put it back in water. It has perked up, but the leaves still feel a little bit thin. So I'm pretty sure these roots, the whitish roots, you can kind of see that they're a bit translucent. They're on their way out. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to be left with like just up to the green. I'm going to chop all of this off very shortly. And I'm going to probably acclimate this in tree fern without the soil. Tree fern mixed with perlite and pon. And I'm going to keep it in 100% humidity inside of a dome, inside of a bin, one of the two. I haven't decided because like I don't know which has more space right now, but this is going to be a high humidity acclimation. Another thing I could do is leave it in water for a couple more days inside of a bin, so it would like really get like pumped up more with water. And then when I see any sort of yellow tip on any of these roots that are on the stem, so these ones are like little short ones. I think this one might be the most active here. When I see that start to grow, I can probably pot it up, but keep it in 100% humidity still. These ones down here are not going to come back. They're gone, but I might keep up to this green part just to accelerate some water intake if there's still viable roots. And then I'd be okay with seeing them go. I don't expect that they're going to stick around for too long. It's just going to start rooting from up here. So it's back in water now. I have it submerged up into those top little root nubbins. This one I was also really surprised. Bigfoot Goliath. I could have sworn there was Pappy in there. Like, this looks so Pappy to me, and I'm pretty sure I called it a Dark Phoenix hybrid. I would have guessed Dark Phoenix Goliath because it looks a little bit fatter, a little bit puffier, like rounded than a Dark Phoenix, but it does have a Dark Phoenix-esque look. But Bigfoot Goliath, I was not expecting. Goliath, I think is such a cool... I don't think I have anything crossed with Goliath. Do I? I don't. And I really hope that it will lend itself to making this plant really dark, because my experience with Kartel plants is that they get darker in my care than when they came to me. So this one looks fine as well. Again, I don't see active root growth just yet, but judging by the firmness of the leaf, they feel really perky. I think it's totally fine to stay in this. Same thing, like at the bottom, tree fern soil. I'm keeping it in a little cup so I can leave a little tiny bit of a reservoir so it doesn't dry out. And this is living in my tent. This next one, this was looking quite sad. This was the one that had the smallest root system, and the emergent leaf was already kind of like wilting off like that when I unboxed it. So I potted this up like everything else. I left it out here. It was like literally in a bin here overnight. In the morning, it was like that. So I was like, I feel like let's try, rather than unpotting it, let's just chuck it in a bin just like this and see what happens. The next day, this leaf was looking way more perky. This leaf is looking way more perky. It just looks like this. It's probably not necessary to unpot this. I'm just also going to acclimate this inside of a bin along with this guy here. I'm on the fence. Like, I don't know if I should cut this off. I'm personally just a little bit curious to see like how the damage progresses. It's not going to hurt the plant keeping it on. At this point, I could cut this leaf off, but you know, that's the leaf from which the next leaf will emerge. So I'm kind of more inclined just to keep it on and just acclimate inside of a bin. It's already spinach, and I want to just keep an eye on this one because it's pristine and there's no damage on it, to see like how this is going to tell me the moisture levels within the plant, whether it's dehydrated. If this starts to decline, I'm definitely going to unpot it, check on the roots. But for now, I think this is fine just the way it is. This last one is my favorite. I actually got the ID right on it. So Dark Phoenix crossed with Rothline and Fort Sherman. And I am so excited to have this because it looks so different from mine when it was this age. Because when I unboxed that one, it looked very much like this plant. And at the time I was so sure it was a Dark Phoenix until later on, like it started to look more like a pap, and it had different colors, it had different textures. But I guess like it's kind of like this leaf. This leaf could be a Dark Phoenix, but then the next leaf after that got a little bit more triangular, a little bit more like a different color, not so blue toned. And then this leaf is very promising. I hope it turns into a freaking triangle plant. That's my hope. And I'm so glad to have two of the same cross, different seed. And I'm also extremely glad that this one was one of the ones that stayed perky. It seems like it's not going to skip a beat. Now it lives in this tent as well. I potted them in these small little pots rather than like my usual this size pot because they are imports. I fully expect root shed. I fully expect, you know, to have to unpot these plants at some point sooner than I would like just a classic repot. So I kept the pot snug for that reason. But from my experience acclimating anthuriums from import, if it looks like this the following week, it's probably going to be fine. And I'm so thrilled to have this one. I'm kind of glad I put it in tree fern soil because I always do pond for Dark Phoenix and Dark Phoenix hybrids. So I would like to see how it responds to tree fern soil, if it's like a good candidate for tree fern soil as well. Do I see worse growth? Of course, it's not like the same plant as other plants I have growing in pond. It's just kind of for my own mental log of like what substrates do well for certain anthuriums. But yeah, this one definitely my favorite of the whole bunch, but it's so small. So in like 2-3 leaves time, this can totally change. I am personally so curious what this is going to look like later on. Is it just going to be super silver, or like is the blue pap going to come out? Also, I'm super excited for this one. This super silvery crystal crossed with King of Spades red crystal. Never would have guessed that. Never would have guessed in a million years. But if it becomes super silvery, that would be amazing. Thank you so much to Kartel for sending me these plants. I will cherish them. I will grow them to the best of my abilities. I'm so excited to see how they change as they grow up. Just as a reminder, they have a brand new website now, karteldaun.com. If you go on there and create an account, you will get 10% off your next order. So it's good timing for spring if you've been thinking about ordering from Kartel. Get your order in now because the orders just went out for all the countries. So now is the time to be ordering for the next shipment. If I were to make a recommendation on what's available right now, I know a lot of people have been really enjoying buying seeds and like seedlings before you can see anything. It's kind of like a little bit of a gamble mystery box kind of situation. This one, Fort Sherman crossed with Red Vein Dark Phoenix, would be my pick. It is $50 for a seed, and what I've been seeing is that they send obviously germinated seeds, but it's like already got like 1 to 2 leaves by the time it gets here. This is their Fort Sherman mother plant. This is their Red Vein Dark Phoenix, which I have been just lusting after for so long. A couple of other 2 picks. Bigfoot crossed with Basilisk, which if you don't know Basilisk, this is Basilisk. It's like my top, no. Is it Red Vein Dark Phoenix or this? One of my top wish list Indonesian hybrids. It's incredible. To my knowledge, they have not selfed Basilisk or Basilisk crossed with HU Red Crystal, which If it's basilisk as the mother plant, maybe more likely to take on basilisk genes. All of these are going to be germinated seeds, so you don't know what you're going to get. It's kind of fun. You don't spend as much money, but those would probably be my picks. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope your weekend has been really great so far. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Mwah!